and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be experimenting with a new recipe and I'm going to call it orange blossom rolls.
It's Sunday morning.
It is Sunday morning, yes. And orange blossom rolls are not a new idea. A lot of people have been making these for a number of years. This is going to be my own version that I sat down and I developed a recipe for, and we're going to see how it turns out. It's going to be using a very sweet, soft brioche dough, and then we're going to fill it with some granulated brown sugar that's going to be spiked with some orange zest and orange juice, and then we're going to cut them and bake them, and then we're going to glaze them with a confectioner's sugar glaze that will have some orange juice and orange zest in it as well. So let's get started. I'm going to grab my mixer bowl here, and I'm just going to start, dumping in the bowl. What I have here is 1 cup of milk. This is whole milk, and 1 stick or half a cup of butter that has been melted together. And I'm also going to use the same measuring cup and see if I can measure out. A half a cup of orange juice. Well, okay. I'm going to use about a tablespoon of orange zest. That's going to go in there. The rest we're going to save for our...
So that was a half a cup of orange juice and half a swallow.
And half a swallow? Is that what you're... Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Half a swallow of juice. There are no birds in my buns.
No. Not this time.
No, not this time. Okay, a quarter of a cup of sugar just went in there. Tablespoon of instant yeast. And just so you know, I always use instant yeast. It's SAF instant yeast. And then we're going to break in 2 eggs. And to me, when you make a dough for like a cinnamon roll, it's always nice to fortify that dough or make a brioche style dough that has eggs in it. Okay, and now I'm going to reach over here, honey, because I need to get the flour, which is over here behind you. Okay, we're going to do 4 cups of bread flour. And the reason I'm using bread flour is because it's higher in gluten, and I find that the bread flour tends to give a little more depth to my dough. I don't like using bread flour for my pizza crust because it makes my crust too puffy. But because we're fortifying this dough with eggs, quite a bit of butter, and some additional sugar, then I am confident. This is 3.
So before anybody asks, no, you can't make this gluten-free.
Oh, well, I don't often get people asking that, but sometimes people who are gluten-free tend to know how to adapt the recipes to suit their own needs, but we don't eat gluten-free in our house, so I'm sorry to disappoint anybody. We're also going to toss in a teaspoon of salt. And we're going to put this on the mixer with the dough hook. Let's turn it on low and see where it goes. Done kneading. Let's turn this off.
That should look neat.
That is how it should look. I did actually add an entire cup of flour extra. After I turned off the camera, I just kept going. Now this is going to be a sticky dough, so just keep that in mind because...
So they need to adjust for their conditions.
They absolutely do. So, here we go over here. Grab a scraper. Okay, now all I'm going to do is, the reason we paused it was because we had the music on, and you know YouTube doesn't like that. So we went and we muted it. All right, this dough, it's wonderful. It feels so soft and supple, and you can see the orange zest in there, and it's really smooth, but it's not sticky anymore. So I had to add 5 cups total, but you may only have to add 4. It just depends.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what it's like wherever you live right now. So I'm going to spray the top. I'm going to put a bonnet on this, and we're going to let this rest for about a half an hour. You don't have to let this rest for a full hour. I'm going to bring it over here where I have my oven preheating, and I'm just going to let that sit on that nice warm stovetop. And then when it's time to come back and when it's time to roll that out and do what happens next, I'll come back and I'll show you what that is. Okay, we're back and our dough is ready. But before we go ahead and start rolling that out, I want to prepare what we're going to put in the middle. And just measured out a half a cup of granulated sugar, and we're going to go ahead and put the rest of this orange rind, orange zest. I'm going to mix it up there with the granulated sugar first. This will help it kind of separate, and we're going to basically, by doing this, we're infusing that orange oil into the sugar so that it's going to really be very fragrant, and you can see that the sugar's turning orange. Mm-hmm. And it smells really good.
Yes, it does. I bet it tastes even worse.
Oh my gosh, that smells amazing. And I have some butter softening over here, so I'll be right back. Come check this. Not quite soft enough. Did you just stick your spoon in there?
Uh-huh.
Does it taste like orange sugar?
Oh, yeah.
It's
really
I wonder
good.
why.
It's really good.
Oh, sweetheart.
It's really good.
I have no doubt. All right.
Here.
No, I'm good.
You sit there and taste it.
I have no problem with that. Let's see. Orange sugar.
It is. It's really good.
It is really good. Okay, so this is a half a cup of granulated sugar, and I zested 1 entire navel orange, and I put about half of it in the dough and the other half in here. So in theory, a tablespoon in each one, but if it's a little more, it's probably not going to hurt anything. And initially, I was going to do a whole cup of brown sugar, but I think I'm going to start with a half a cup and see where we go from there. Now, I'm just going to go ahead, and this dough should be really nice to roll out here. I'm just going to deflate it a bit. Get all those air bubbles out of there. It's nice, soft, supple dough. Oh my gosh, it's so nice. And you can hear those little pockets of air being popped as you press down on it. And you can see the flecks here of the orange zest. Now, I softened some butter. That is about a half a stick there. I'm just going to take my offset spatula.
Just roll butter?
No, this is Irish butter.
Oh, even better.
Yeah. Use whatever butter you prefer. Okay, just get your butter spread out here. And you don't need a lot. It's like a half a stick softened is going to do you just fine. Now we're going to take this sugar and orange rind mixture and oh gosh, it smells so good. Dump it in there. And I like to get my hands in here. This is going to help you spread it as evenly as possible, and also is going to help mix it up and kind of embed that into the dough a little.
It's the dark stuff.
Those would be little flecks of molasses, because this is the brown sugar that we made from scratch.
So just extra pockets of sweetness.
That's absolutely right. And you don't need a lot. I mean, this is like the perfect amount. So this is a lot of dough and only a cup, really, of sugar in the filling. Because we're going to also put a glaze on the top after these come out of the oven. Is that good, honey?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
How do you get to it before you did?
Right. Because I was just going to sweep it into the sink. All right. So now what do? We're going to start to roll and get this and kind of roll it tighter than you think, because if you don't, it's just going to come undone, and we don't want that. And you'll notice that I didn't take that filling all the way to the edge up at the top. And you know, maybe you have a bigger kitchen than I do, so you won't be running into your sink faucets or anything else like I do when I cook. That's just the way it is here, folks.
Don't you love an island?
I would love a lot of things. You know, my dream kitchen would be an incredible thing. Okay, so here we go. I have a pan. I'm sure this is going to fill more than one pan, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a spray. Okay.
And remind them again what you're using.
With my misto. I love this thing. I need to, I need my big knife.
The only propellant in that is air.
That's right. You have to pump it up like Hans and Franz. Okay, we're going to go ahead and estimate about half. And you can do this with a nice sharp knife, or you can do it with some... Oh, here, that's what it looks like in the middle. You can do it with some dental floss, which works also. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut off this end here and do this. These are going to be, I'll just stick those in a pie plate and cook those off. Let's estimate here, see what we get.
Keep one in half.
I'm going to cut in half, and in half again, and in half again, and I'm going to just keep cutting these in half as well. It does get a little tricky the smaller they get, but trust me, if you leave them like this thick, they're going to be way too big. I mean, that's like the freakishly large cinnamon buns that they sell like at the mall, and nobody needs them to be that big. My kids certainly don't need them to be that big. And I'm just going to start laying these in a pan, 3 across. Let's see how many we get in here. I like to put, 5. So you're going to get like 15 in this pan. Let's even up this edge here. Let's save that for later. Don't press. That's the other thing. When you're cutting,
don't squish them.
Saw back and forth lightly and let the knife do the work for you. Let the weight of the knife do the work for you. Otherwise, you're going to be reforming a lot, and then you're just going to compromise the way the dough is going to rise in the oven, and then you're going to be maybe a little bit disappointed. I mean, they're still going to taste amazing. Okay, let's finish off this pan here. And it's perfectly okay if they touch. Don't worry about that. That one's a little on the small side, so I'm gonna... All right, these have set for 15-20 minutes. You can see they're nice and puffy. Look really good. And I just took my bonnets off, and I did have someone ask me if I reuse these. Well, this didn't really touch anything. It just covered it up. So yes, I do reuse them. I stick them back up here in my onion basket, and I don't like to throw them away. I like to, if they're dirty, I'll throw them out.
Yeah,
but
they're cheap enough that you could.
But if I can get a second use out of it, I will. 350-degree oven that has been preheating for a nice amount of time. I'm going to stick those right in there. They're going to go in there for 20 to 25 minutes. And when they're ready to come out, we'll bring you back and we'll show you what happens next. Okay, these are ready to come out of the oven. I've already turned off the oven, and I had previously taken out the one in the pie plate, because the pie plate's glass had fewer in it and obviously cooked faster. These popped up out of themselves. Don't be alarmed. Right. It's really okay. They're going to taste just fine. We're going to turn them upside down anyway, so it really, we'll all just have to get over it and suffer through it.
Yeah.
Okay, so because we don't really want these to, oh, wow, I'm always knocking you, babe.
There shouldn't be
I'm going to give it a press, and I'm going to grab this. Okay, so you're going to want to loosen this from the sides all the way around, and I've kind of already done that. We'll just run our knife around this one more time. There we go. I'm going to put I just have a pan here that's lined with aluminum foil. I'll put this wretched mitt back on my hand. See? Yeah, they popped up out of themselves, but don't even worry about it. Alright, you're going to want to let these cool for a little while, and then we're going to make some icing, drizzle it on the top, and even though they're ugly, they're going to be delicious.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 2.5 cups of powdered sugar, and I've got about 2 tablespoons of soft butter. And I'm going to start with about a tablespoon of freshly squeezed orange juice, because we want this glaze to be nice and orangey, since I'm making orange rolls. Let's add a little bit more juice. Gosh, that juice is so vibrant in color. And this is really just an eyeball thing. You've just got to keep little by little adding that liquid into that powdered sugar until you reach the consistency that you desire. And then you give it, not quite, it's still a little thick for me, so let's see if there's any more orange juice in here. We'll drain that. At this point, you want to be really careful about how much you add each time, because you can very quickly add way too much. And still, I'm going to add a drop of cream. It's like a teaspoon. This might do it. I would say that's it. You can make it as thin. I'm going to add another splash in there. Or leave it as thick as you want. If you want to use this like a cake frosting on top instead of a glaze, then go ahead. Don't put as much liquid in it. I see that. It's perfect. And then, of course, we have to taste it, right? Oh. Mm-hmm.
It's good. It's got a fresh orange taste to it.
Yes, well, it should. Okay, so we'll bring our pan over here. Like I said, it is still kind of warm. So.
I mean, fresh orange as opposed to fake orange.
I personally am not wanting to totally drown the top here in icing. Plus I have still the ones that we baked in the pie plate. So that's where I'm going to stop for these. Now, you wouldn't want me to serve up a piece, would you?
I don't think so.
Oh. Well, you'll have to suffer through it. Let me grab a pretty dish. Let's see here. Okay. I think this one is already loose, so we'll go ahead and put that like that. Would you like the second one, or?
Sure they would. They might have to share.
They might have to, you think?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, whoopsie, I'm making a mess. See? Crud. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Really beautiful. You know, it's labor of love. It's got a plan for these things. If you want them for Sunday breakfast or any time, you make these ahead of time. They're really easy. They just take a little time. Orange blossom sweet rolls. And they're going to be positively delicious. I hope you try them. I hope you love them. And thank you so much for joining me in my kitchen on this Sunday morning. And remember, you can always get the recipe and print it out for yourself over at my website, www.noreenskitchen.com. So until next time, I'll see ya.